The Galactic Council had deemed Kepler 442b uninhabitable, not because of its atmosphere, that was perfectly breathable, not because of its gravity, that was manageable for most species. It was uninhabitable because of the jungle. The Vraxian Empire had sent 3 full legions to claim the planet's rich mineral deposits. The jungle swallowed them whole. Not a single warrior returned. The Zephyrian coalition followed with their elite ranger corps, specialists in hostile environments. The jungle claimed them too, leaving only scattered bones and corroded armor as evidence they had ever existed. 17 different species had tried to tame Kepler 442b over the past 2 centuries. 17 different armies had marched into those emerald depths with confidence and superior technology. The jungle had taken them all. But humans were stubborn creatures, and Sergeant Marcus Chen of the Terran Colonial Marines had volunteered for what everyone knew was a suicide mission. The briefing had been short. The planet's surface was covered in a single continent-spanning jungle that seemed to possess an almost supernatural ability to destroy any organized military force that entered it. Satellite scans showed massive trees that twisted skyward like cathedral spires, their canopy so thick that sunlight barely touched the forest floor. Strange energy readings emanated from deep within, and every probe sent into the jungle had gone silent within hours. "Sir," Chen had said to his commanding officer, "permission to speak freely?" "Granted, Sergeant. Why send just one man? If armies have failed, what makes you think a single Marine can succeed?" Colonel Hayes had studied him with tired eyes. "Because armies think like armies, son. They bring vehicles, establish camps, create supply lines. They make noise, leave trails, and try to impose order on chaos. But you? You're just one man with a rifle and a mission. Sometimes the smallest key opens the biggest door." Chen had nodded, understanding. It wasn't about conquest. It was about survival. The drop pod had screamed through Kepler 442b's atmosphere like a falling star, crashing through the canopy and embedding itself in the soft jungle floor. Chen had emerged into a world of green twilight and absolute silence. No bird calls, no insect chirps, no wind through the leaves, just the sound of his own breathing inside his helmet. The first thing he noticed was how the jungle watched him. Not with eyes, though he sometimes glimpsed shapes moving in his peripheral vision, but with an awareness that made his skin crawl. Every vine, every flower, every shadow seemed to track his movement. The trees themselves appeared to lean inward, as if curious about this lone intruder. Chen had switched off his comm system after the first day. The static that poured through wasn't random interference. It was whispers in languages he didn't recognize, speaking words that made his head ache. Better to travel in silence than to listen to whatever the jungle wanted to tell him. He found the first evidence of the failed expeditions on day 3. A Vraxian command bunker, built to withstand orbital bombardment, cracked open like an egg. Vines had grown through the hull plating as if the metal were soft earth. Inside, Chen discovered weapons fused to the walls. Technology merged with organic matter in ways that defied physics. The bodies of the Vraxian warriors had become part of the jungle itself, their exoskeletons serving as planters for bioluminescent fungi. The jungle had been learning. Each army it consumed had taught it something new. From the Vraxians, it had learned structure and organization. From the Zephyrians, it had absorbed knowledge of stealth and camouflage. From the Korthak Empire, it had gained understanding of energy weapons and shield technology. Every failed invasion had made it stronger, smarter, more dangerous. But Chen pressed on. He moved like smoke through the undergrowth, never staying in one place long enough for the jungle to focus on him. When carnivorous plants tried to snare him, he slipped away before their petals could close. When the ground itself attempted to swallow him, he was already 3 steps ahead, reading the subtle changes in soil consistency that betrayed the trap. The jungle began to grow frustrated. On day 7, it abandoned subtlety. Massive predators, hybrids of flesh and technology scavenged from fallen armies, stalked him through the eternal twilight. Chen fought them with the patience of a hunter and the fury of a marine, using their own momentum against them, turning their strengths into weaknesses. By day 10, the jungle had grown curious again. It began showing him things. Clearings where flowers sang in mathematical harmonies. Pools of water that reflected not the sky above but the depths of space itself. Chen realized it was trying to seduce him, to make him want to stay and become part of its ever-growing consciousness. He kept walking. The heart of the jungle revealed itself on day 14. A massive tree, larger than any mountain Chen had ever seen. its trunk twisted with the remnants of every army that had ever challenged this world. Weapons, vehicles, and bones formed living murals across its bark. At its base, a pool of silver liquid pulsed with the rhythm of a vast heart. The jungle's consciousness resided there, ancient beyond measure, hungry for new experiences and knowledge. It had been alone for millennia before the armies came, and their arrival had awakened something in it. A desire to grow, to learn, to become more than just a collection of plants and trees. Chen stood at the edge of the pool and spoke to the silence. I know what you are. I know what you want. But I'm not here to feed you or join you. I'm here to make you an offer. The jungle listened. The galaxy is full of life, Chen continued. More species, more knowledge, more experiences than you could gain by consuming 1,000 armies. But if you keep eating everyone who comes here, you'll never learn about any of it. You'll just be a monster in the dark, growing fat on fear. The silver pool rippled. Let me go. Let me return to my people and tell them what I've seen. Not as a conqueror, but as an ambassador. There are scientists who would give anything to study you. Philosophers who would spend lifetimes trying to understand you. Artists who would create beauty inspired by your wonder. You could learn from them all, willingly given, freely shared. The jungle considered this. For 3 days, Chen waited by the silver pool, while the planetary consciousness debated with itself. He could feel the weight of its attention, the pressure of a mind vast enough to encompass an entire world. But he didn't flee, didn't beg, didn't try to bargain further. He simply waited with the patience of a species that had learned to outlast ice ages and supernovas. On the 3rd day, the path opened. Chen walked out of the jungle 23 days after he had entered it. His armor was scratched and stained. His rifle had been modified with technology he couldn't begin to understand, and his eyes burned with the light of someone who had stared into the face of something truly alien and emerged unchanged. The rescue ship found him sitting on a fallen log at the jungle's edge, calmly eating a ration pack while exotic flowers bloomed in perfect spirals around his feet. Sergeant Chen, the captain said over the comm. Report status. Chen looked up at the ship, then back at the jungle that had begun to sing, actually sing, in harmonies that made the air itself shimmer with color. Mission accomplished, sir, he said. And sir, we're going to need a much bigger negotiating table. Behind him, the jungle rustled with what might have been laughter, and 17 different species worth of military equipment began growing into the most beautiful garden the galaxy had ever seen.